My name is Maditla, and I'm the editor-in-chief of designindaba.com.
And now, what is designindaba.com?
So designindaba.com is an online publication where we showcase creativity from all over the continent, but also from around the world. And it started on the back of the conference that we run in Cape Town. We've had the conference since 1994, and it's basically the biggest design conference in the world, where for 3 years we bring designers, architects, creatives from all over the world to come speak about how they're changing the world for the better through their creativity. It also has a film fest attached to it, and we also have a musical element in the evenings for people. So it's like 3 really fun days in Cape Town in February, like summer.
And you're taking it overseas, aren't you?
Yes. So this year was very exciting because we started like an international expansion of Design Indaba, and what that has meant is that we ran an event in Helsinki as part of Helsinki Design Week called Design Commons. And what Design Commons is that it's a deconstructed conference where instead of somebody standing on a podium and speaking to an audience, we have our panelists sitting at different tables with different audience members, and then in a kind of like dinner setting. So there's wine, there's going to be dinner that's been served, and it takes place over a period of like a few hours. The different people, so like if it's an architect, they stand up, they speak about something, and then it gets discussed, and then someone else speaks, because sometimes at conferences, like the people who are participating themselves don't get to listen to the other panelists. So like what this is also like you get to interact with your audience directly, because you're sitting at a table, you're having dinner, but you're talking about how do we make better cities. So like that was, it happened early this year, and there was a success. And then we had recently Antenna, which we launched with Dutch Design Week. And what that is like a global scan of 20 of the best designers from all over the world. And we had people from Iceland, we had people from Tokyo, we had some South Africans. So like just like a global scan of like what's happening with design, like what are the millennials doing, what are they thinking, and they're doing like some of the most amazing
stuff.
Work. Yeah.
Yeah. So give me a couple of examples of designers or architects working on the continent who you think are exciting.
Okay. So I mean, architects, I'd have to say like Francis Kere from Burkina Faso. His work is amazing, but it's also like informed directly by his heritage and his background of like growing up in Burkina Faso. So we had him at Design Indaba a couple of years ago, and he was talking about, for example, how African designers need to stop like looking towards the West, for example, and also look like in their own communities for inspiration. And literally this is how he works. He recently did the Serpentine Pavilion, and in some of the schools and the buildings that he's made in Burkina Faso, they like literally are a direct response to the community's needs, rather than an architect imposing some beautiful monstrosity that people are not going to be able to use. Yeah, so it's like responding to the needs of the people that are going to live and use those buildings. So like the school, for example, is built in a way where, yes, it's a school, kids are going to go, but then it's also an area where when it's school holidays, the community can use it. So then it's like multi-use rather than just this building that's just for this one purpose. Yeah.
And you were talking to me about a South African rug designer.
Yes, so like last year, as part of Design Indaba, we run the most beautiful object in South Africa, where we get South Africans to tell us like what is beauty to them, and they come up with some really interesting things. And like last year, our winner was this young designer called Nkuli Mlangeni, and she makes these rugs. So like the specific rug that she makes is called the Sankara rug, and it's named after Thomas Sankara. And what she did is that when she was studying in Switzerland, she started researching like rugs and the art of weaving, and she went like all the way to Peru, and then came back to South Africa and found out that like they're weavers in the Drakensberg, they're weavers all over Southern Africa, they're weavers all over the continent. And she's been working with them, and obviously because as a young person she has this like young graphic design kind of like new flavored way of doing something as ordinary as a rug, and then so she makes it like relevant to like young people so that they can buy it, but also like you're learning the skills, and something like weaving is going out of fashion with young people. So she's almost made it cool to have like a bespoke rug that's naturally dyed by some ladies in the Drakensberg or a guy called Mario in Peru, and they're really stunning.
Good, good.
Yeah.
And what trends do you see on the continent in terms of what's happening with design?
So, I mean, speaking to what I've been saying earlier about, like, even if you're just using Nkuli and Francis as an example, I think there's a lot more of African designers looking to themselves and their own heritage as inspiration rather than let's copy what's happening in London, let's copy what's happening in China. You know, I find that a lot of young people, certainly that I'm meeting on the continent, like, they're doing their things, and it's almost kind of like you use what you learned from the more developing world to add to what you're doing, but not as a try to like copy and paste it. And I think for the longest time, people don't also have an understanding of, you know, design as a discipline. People think fashion design, and I think right now, I mean, you know, there's speculative design, there's all these other things, and I think part of what Design Indaba is trying to do is literally have people understand that there are like 20 different ways you can be a designer. You know, it's not just clothing design, and if you think about that, over the next 10 or 20 years, we're going to have like even more interesting stuff coming from the continent. And our recent nod for Cape Town as the UNESCO, as part of UNESCO's creative network, we like a creative city for design. I think again that adds another layer for like people to just be proud, but also like it becomes easier for young people to explain to their parents like, I want to be a designer, you know.
And it's something you can do.
Yeah, it's something you can do and make money and do beautiful work and change the world. So I think more of that.